Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, I am going to explain you about one of the very hottest topic in AI world, which is nothing but the large language models. So I'm not going to explain more in depth about the LLMs, but I'll try to explain on the high level what it is doing and what are all the types of the LLMs, and I'll try to explain how these specific types of the LLMs is working. Okay, so GPT-4 is working in a different manner, and the other LLMs, whatever that I am referring, so that types will be working in a other manner. So I'll try to explain that also. And finally, I'll try to explain you about one use case where we can leverage the large language model into our application. So I will take one Jupyter notebook and I will try to take one LLM and I will do some inferencing. So I'm not going to fine tuning anything. So this complete video is very simple. So the main audience of these videos I am focusing here is the people wants to understand what is the LLM and what it is doing, and if the people wants to know how can we use any LLMs into their applications. Here the applications what I am referring, that is nothing but the Jupyter notebook. Okay. So first, let me try to explain you about what is the LLM. So what the people or the whoever created that LLM, what they are doing is they come up with a some architecture where they will try to make some AI assistant for us. Okay, here the AI assistant, whatever that I am referring, that is nothing but the LLM. So what the LLM will do is when the people while creating the LLM, right, they used to inject the whole amount of data, which is nothing but the data which is spreaded all over the Wikipedia, internet, and the web data, whatever there, right? So they injected this all this data into the LLMs for giving the knowledge to the LLM. Okay, so that the LLM will know the things. Okay, so now LLM has the knowledge. So the creators, whoever created, right, they will train that LLM for the specific needs. So here the need is, for example, the GPT-4, right? They have trained the GPT-4 specifically for giving kind of the chatbot assistant. Okay, so similarly, like other LLMs, some inferencing LLMs may there. So those kind of the LLMs, they have trained the specific domain specific LLMs, they have trained it. So this is a high level about the what the LLM is doing and how it is different from the normal Google search engines or normal other sources. So now let's come into the second part, right? So what are the types of the LLMs, right? So there are two types of the LLMs that we can consider. So the first one is the representation models, and the second one is the generative models. So the GPT-4, these are all comes under the generative models. So when you are thinking about the representation models, right? So many people who were there in the data science field or the AI/ML fields, right? They may know the entire these yeah, large language models, everything created based on the transformer architecture. Okay, so I'm not going to in depth into that, but on the high level I'll try to explain. So when you are thinking about the transformer architecture, it divides into the two parts. One is the encoder category and the second one is the decoder category. So the GPT models, these are all comes under the decoder categories. What the encoder models will do, it will try to get the data which is nothing but the user input, and it will try to understand the what the user is telling. Okay, so for that technically we used to do the tokenization and the embeddings and all. Okay, so that I will try to come up with what that specifically will do. I will try to come up in a separate videos. Okay, so here, so based on our input, it will compare the training data and it will try to give us some result. Okay, so this is nothing but the representation models. So the decoder model, whatever that I am referring, that will try to create the text based on the questions, whatever that we are asking. So again, it will have a knowledge, whatever like the encoder model, whatever we were talking about previously. So it not so these decoder models will not only have the knowledge, it will try to generate the output as well. Okay, So it will write the text, it will calculate the grammatical mistakes, it will giving you the result. So these are all the specific basic uh, explanation of the types of the large language models. So now with all this understanding, we can try to do some exercise where I will try to show you how can we use the LLM into our application, and we'll do some inferencing. Inference is nothing but if you are asking something, right, they will the LLMs will give you some result based on its knowledge, its pre-trained knowledge. So here I am going to take the LLM which is called the P3, which is created by the Microsoft. So we will do some inferencing by using that LLM. So now let's get into the example part. So here I'll try to explain you about how can we make use of the Microsoft P3 LLM. So I have downloaded that LLM into my local, but in case if you are downloading it for the very first time, you can directly download it from the Hugging Face, but it may take some 3 to 4 minutes for downloading. That is again based on your bandwidth. So now I will explain this example based on the GPU basis. So in case if you want to do the similar exercise into your application, you can do the same with a CPU based. So I will show you how can we do with a CPU based as well. So now let's get into the example. So let's import some of the libraries that is very much needed while we are downloading the models from the Hugging Face. So the one is the auto model for casual LM, and the second one is the auto tokenizer. I will load the model from my local, so I do have the copy into my Docker container. So this is the place where I have downloaded this V3 Mini 4K model. Okay. So the first argument that we need to pass for this method is the LLM location. So here we do have the model inside this variable. So in case if you are downloading this model from the Hugging Face, instead of this we need to provide the model name. Okay, so here is the model name. So okay, in case if so in my scenario I have downloaded this model already, so I am using the local path. Then let's move on to the next property. So here we need to set up the type of the machine, so device. So since I am using the, so for that we can use the device setup parameter property. Device setup, we can set it as CUDA. These are all some basic properties that we have to set up. So when we are setting up the torch detect is equal to auto, right? What it will do, it will try to get the best tensor precision. So ideally the tensor precision, it will be the float 16, 32 and all, right? So it will try to get the best tensor precision. This is done right. So we are good with our model property setup. Okay, so let me run this one. It will take some time. Okay, device, it's not device setup, it is device map. Since I do have the model into my local path, it loaded quickly. So now we can move on to the next part, which is nothing but the tokenizer loading. Okay, so what we will do, we will try to load the tokenizer. We are loaded the LLM into the Jupyter notebook, and we have loaded the tokenizer also, which is very much required for doing for accessing our LLMs. And next we have to create our pipeline. Okay, so this pipeline is responsible for how the LLM should work. So in terms of the pipeline, so this task, this LLM, right, this is specifically for the text generation. Okay, So now let me explain you about this portion. So here we are trying to create our pipeline. So this pipeline is very much structured. So this is the place where we are telling to the model how the model should perform. So we are telling this model is the uh, text generation model, and we are loading our model, which is I configured here, and we are loading our tokenizer. These are the properties that is again based on everyone's use cases. So if I'm setting as the return full text is equal to false, right? So it will return the newly generated portion of the prompt. It will not return the entire prompt. Okay. And I'm setting the max new tokens is equal to 500. It's nothing but the 500 words it will try to return. Okay. And I'm making the do sample is equal to false. So the LLM is doing, we are doing the inference, right? It will try to give some different output. Okay, whenever you are making call, it will try to give, uh, it will not give the same output for every time. So to avoid such things, right? If the LLM wants to give the best out of all the outputs all the times, we can mention this do sample is equal to false. So now let me run my pipelines. Okay. So yeah, for the pipelines which is not defined, let me also here as part of my import. Now we can ignore these warnings if you are using the CUDA. The next portion is for setting up our prompt. Okay, so when we are using the LLM, right, we have to follow the certain prompt. Again, this will be differ for each and every LLMs. So we have to tell the LLMs model, so how the model should respond to us. So for that, I'm not going to take any common reference. So for example, let me take a who is something like that. So I'm going to ask who is the Prime Minister of India at 2020. So this is our prompt. I'm not going to ask much big things. So let's see how this LLM is responding. LLM to generate the output. For that, we can use the generator method. Now let's validate that output. So this generated text, the output will be falling under this property. So here is a result. Yeah. So Narendra Modi is the Prime Minister of India. So now if you see, I was asking the who is the Prime Minister of India at 2020. Now just ask some other prompt. Okay. Asking them a joke. Here is a light-hearted joke for you. We don't. So here is the context. So for using the LLMs into our applications, it's completely depends on our use cases. So we have to go and find the perfect LLMs that aligns for our use case. So that's all for today's video. So in this video, we covered about what is the LLM. So we haven't go much in depth into it, but on the basic level, on the high level, we covered about it, and we have covered about what are the types of the LLMs, which is nothing but the representation and generative models and all. And we covered about how the large language models is working, how the training is happening, and how the domain specific training is happening. And we finally we came up with some use cases where we have leveraged the Microsoft V3 models for some inferencing purpose. So what I will do, I will try to add this Jupyter notebook as part of this video descriptions. You can download this, and then you can try to execute that into your application, and then you can try to see what the output it is giving. And in case if you want to use some lesser in size, right, there are many models are available like fee 3 is comes around 4 plus or 5 plus GB, right? So there are fee 2 and fee 1 also is there, I think, but that is also based on the Microsoft, and GPT-1, which is also very lesser in size. So we can utilize those kind of the models in case if we wanted to practice with some different models. So that's all for today, and we'll try to catch up in the next video. In case if you want me to explain about some other concept, you can give us suggestions in the comments box. Thanks everyone. Thanks for watching.